Hi, I'm Greg. I release stable kernels. I also maintain different parts of the kernel. So I do a lot of kernel work. I work for Linux Foundation. So let's talk about the kernel. So this is the size, 21 million lines of code. It's a huge, huge project. What is more interesting is how many people work on this. Last year, almost 4,000 different developers, at least 440 companies. So it's the largest software development project ever in the history of computing, by the number of people using it, or developing it, and now using it, and the number of companies involved. It's huge number of people. Number of people who are contributing in large ways is grown, which is really, really good. And it shows a vibrant community. So this is our rate of change. I've also localized all the numbers. That's 10,000 lines added. It's not that bad, you know, normal size project, until you realize the units. Maybe? There we go. Is this recorded? Yeah, it's recorded. All right, so the Linux Foundation told me to stop using the word scary. You guys can count, I'm gonna say scary a lot. The traditional computer science model is everything, once you get it working, you tested it, it's verified, you don't touch it. It doesn't change. Linux runs the world. We're modifying Linux really, really fast. Almost 8 changes an hour, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And those changes are equal across the whole tree. So I said the core of the kernel was 5%. 5% of the changes touch the core of the kernel, the thing that we all rely on. 50% of the changes are drivers. It's flat. It's been flat for a decade. And this number is huge. Every single year I say, we're going just too fast. We can never go faster. And every year I'm wrong. When I first started doing this, we were doing 2.5 changes an hour. And everybody's like, no way, we can never go faster. That's insane. Microsoft and Apple said, you guys win. Literally, they said that. We cannot keep it. You guys are gonna go faster than anybody. There's no way we can keep up. We are going faster. And we keep going faster every single time. 4.3, we did 8.1. This is scary if you rely on this stuff, right? Nobody relies on Linux. Now, we make a lot of changes. And we're not just making changes because we like to, because that's more work, we're really lazy. We're making changes because we have to. We're making changes because the world changes. The model of you make a box and you make it static and you throw it in the corner doesn't work because that box has to talk to the world. And the world changes. Everything interacts, so you have to evolve. If your operating system does not change, it is dead. It's that simple. If your device does not change based on the world that it interacts with, it is dead. And it's that simple. So look at operating systems that don't change. Nobody uses them anymore. How do we do this? We do 2 things. We rely on time-based releases and rely on incremental changes. We don't take a big, here we'll rewrite the scheduler. Here we'll redo this. But we want to see your work involved. It's like your math professor says, show your work. So we make you break up the changes and do extra work in order to prove that it's something that works. So if you want to make a change, you have to break it up into logical little tiny steps, send all the little steps, explain them all, and then we'll say, oh, that looks good, this doesn't look good, and we'll accept them and not accept them. And we waste engineers' time because we have a lot of them. What we don't have a lot of is maintainers. We don't have a lot of people reviewing. We have about, 4,000 developers. We have 700 people who maintain a portion of the kernel. We have really 100 people that maintain and do all the reviewing. Very few if you look at the ratios. So we need to keep the maintainers happy and sane. You want to make it easy and make it obvious. If I don't accept your patch because it's obviously correct, I'm the foolish one. So you need to make it simple, and that's what we do. We rely on that, breaking down your changes into individual stuff. And that works out really, really well. The other thing we do is time-based releases. And time-based releases we've been doing for about 12, 15 years now, and it works out really good. For the past 15 years, we've done a release every 2.5 months. It's extremely regular. It's very predictable. We are very predictable, and we're very stable that way. Every single release, also, we don't break things. If I break an API and I don't mean to, hey, great, we'll fix it up. But you don't break an API on purpose. We sometimes break an API on purpose because we want to see if anybody's using it, because we don't always get it right. Well, we have to lead. And we have to create these brand new things, and we get it wrong. And we have to evolve and figure out how to do things over time. That's hard. It's a hard thing to do, but we do it. As a user, should feel comfortable with taking a new kernel every 2.5 months, because we're not going to break anything. Facebook did a test. They've been running a new kernel on their infrastructure for the past 4 years. Nothing broke. Every single new kernel, nothing broke. It just works. We're really good at this. Trust us. Japan is changing their whole social infrastructure, all their stoplights, all their trains, all their stuff. They're using Linux. And they came to me and said, we want you to support a version of Linux for 30 years. I'm like, hey, I can retire. But they know what they're doing. They want to maintain a kernel and on a specific set of hardware within a specific set of boundary, but they can update that kernel. They're relying on the fact that they know they can update that kernel, and that's real important. I'll talk about it in a minute. So Japan is crazy, but they're crazy in a good way.